Well, welcome to episode 95 of The Bar is Ankle High, your weekly ADHD podcast that explores life's low bars with wit and wisdom. My name is Katie.
I'm Garet.
If you want ad-free and extended and video episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarIsAnkleHigh. It's just $5 a month, and it's a great way to support us, but also to get, not having to deal with ads. So, there's that.
And who wants to deal with ads?
Not me.
Not me either.
But they do help us keep the lights on. And
Yeah. I guess.
But I did feel like we'd had some pretty topic intensive episodes lately, and next week our episode is going to be pretty intensive but also super important, so make sure you're here next week. But also, for that reason, I thought it was time we did another Would You Rather for ADHD. So this time I made up the questions. And
I'm nervous, actually. Because I feel like you came up with really horrific things.
I don't think that they're that bad, actually, but we can always come up with some horrific things later on.
Love it.
Would you rather have to clean out your closet, but the bags of clothes that you're getting rid of will be in your car for 3 months before you drop them off at Goodwill? Or lose all of your clothes and have to completely rebuild your wardrobe from scratch?
Okay, so it's either I have to clean out my closet and hang on to the bags for 3 months. Or completely start over. I'm going to say cleaning out the closet and keeping the clothes for 3 months. Because I would be very overwhelmed if I had to start from scratch.
I think I would rather start from scratch. Because then I could just be I could do a capsule wardrobe and just have so many fewer things, theoretically.
If you asked me tomorrow, I would probably say get rid of everything and start over. That's a tough one. I don't know. I feel it depends on the day.
Yeah, that's fair. My problem with having to get rid of all my clothes is that I would lose the comfort clothes that I have that I'll never get rid of no matter what size I am or whatever. There's certain items I don't know, usually a hoodie of some sort or a pair of pants that I know are just always going to be super comfortable when I'm feeling some type of way, and that would suck to lose those. So I think when I think about those things in particular, then I'm yeah, no, I would just do the 3 bags of donations.
That's what I'm saying. It totally depends. There's times where I'm I would love it if, but I don't, because I'm oh, it would be good because then you get rid of all the stuff that doesn't fit, right?
Right. I feel if I won the lottery, if I won the Mega Millions jackpot, I would get rid of everything and completely rebuild my wardrobe, but I would also hire somebody to help me do that.
Yeah, it the thought is just so daunting. And then I'm well, then I also only have I don't have the multiple sizes of things. So, if I'm feeling bloated, I'm not going to have something that's a little bit bigger that fits that's comfortable. So, yeah, I don't know. It depends on the day. Would depend on my answer. I don't know. I can't decide.
Would you rather have to drink coffee that is missing a critical element of your perfect cup of coffee? So, for me, I take my coffee with milk. So it would be would I rather want to drink black coffee or have coffee breath forever, no matter what you do or eat, you always have coffee breath afterwards?
Oh, no, I'd rather have 1 cup of coffee that's not how I want it. For sure. Actually, that's what I had this morning. We didn't have any milk, so I had to put half and half in it, and I don't like half and half in my coffee. I like a splash of milk and cinnamon.
I would rather have, yeah, I I can handle half and half of my coffee. I just prefer having milk because I like a good amount of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the half and half just like coats my teeth weird or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I can't add as much half and half as I need to like cool it down so I can drink it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I do add that much half and half, then it gets too light and it's just like milk
Oh,
with
then I hate
coffee
it.
tidbit in it. Yeah.
I'd rather have my
So
coffee have a little bit too little milk than have a little bit too much.
I'm fine with a little bit too much milk as long as it's milk and not half and half.
Oh my God, the half and half. Yeah, it's like very rich.
Yes.
I'm just not used to it. So I took a sip and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think I would also do the cup of black coffee because I would just take it and maybe take a sip. I definitely wouldn't finish it. If I had to finish it, I would have to like chug it.
And then poop your pants.
Well, yeah, but I do that anyway.
ADHD and pooping pants. We know that this happens. Yeah, I typically do mine with milk and a little bit of cinnamon, and I didn't have either this morning in my coffee, so
Brutal.
I had a little over half a cup because I'm not going to finish it if it's...
Yeah, that's exactly how it would be for me. Like I'd have enough to be like, okay, I'm awake.
I took the edge off a little bit, and that was it. Yeah.
Would you rather, I think I know your answer to this one, wake up sweaty in the middle of the night or wake up freezing cold and you can't get warm?
I wake up sweaty in the middle of the night every night. My philosophy on this has changed. When my spouse and I got together, he likes things very cool. And I was always freezing. And he was like, it's so much easier to warm up than it is to cool down. And I was like, okay, but why is your comfort important and not mine? And we would
like
just
the
have
pain
this,
receptors in my brain have, they don't tell me anything.
And he's like, yeah, well, I'm sweating. So after going around and around and around, now I prefer to sleep in a very cold room. So I would rather... So it's waking up really hot.
Like waking up like sweaty, like profusely sweating. You got like a sweat outline in the bed, or waking up freezing cold and you can't get warm.
Freezing cold because at least I'm dry. And then I just stick my ice cold feet under my dog or on my spouse to warm them up. So I'm going to say the cold.
I think I would rather be cold too, because also like being cold makes me tired, so I'd still be able to sleep afterwards.
Yeah, I'd be like, I want to get snuggly. Like I'd
want to get snuggly, wouldn't be
burrowed.
able to, and I'd just sleep like the matchstick girl, frozen to death.
I just wind up like moving a lot to try and like warm myself up. So I'm just like constantly in a state of like this when I'm
Which
really
you do
cold.
anyway.
Yeah, I can't sit still anyway. So it's like I Jiminy Glick, but horizontally. Sorry. I take that back. Scratch that from the record. I never said it. Cold. I'd rather be cold and still.
Would you rather get set up and like hunkered in to do your current crafting hyperfixation, like all of this stuff, only to realize you're missing a critical supply or tool that makes it impossible to do what you wanted to do that day?
I don't even like the thought.
Get all set up and hunkered in to do your current crafting hyperfixation and then lose all interest in that activity immediately after you sit down. You don't even want to start it.
I'd prefer the second one. Because the first one would leave me with that feeling like I have an itch that I can't scratch.
But then you would still have to clean up all that stuff and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't...
I would rather just be missing a critical supply, because then I can like get that supply and go back to it theoretically.
Yeah, I think it depends.
Otherwise, I just have all these supplies that like
my thought
just
is
live
like
in my house.
if I'm trying to do this during nap time, I can't just run out and grab it. So it makes me think maybe that's why I'm thinking the second one. Because I'm like, okay, well, at least like I don't have that feeling of like that I can't start. Like, oh, I
That's
just
true.
need this.
Like you wouldn't be frustrated from
Yes. The agitation that comes with it's kind of like I'm gonna settle in and watch TV, and you get the big blanket and you get all cozy and your snack and your drink, and you turn on what you're gonna watch, then you have to pee.
Or you get ready to record and then all of a
And
sudden
you're all
you have
settled
to pee.
in, and then somebody has to pee. Yeah. I think that I would rather deal with I have all this shit out now, I gotta put it away because now I want nothing to do with it, than to deal with because that's the only way I can describe it, as like having an itch that I can't scratch. You know, having everything ready to go and then realizing I'm forgetting a crucial part. Also something I've done like a million times because,
Yeah.
Squirrel brain.
Same. I've done both of those things several times, frankly.
Yep.
Would you rather not be able to get a word in edgewise to explain yourself, or be misunderstood no matter how many times or how eloquently you explained yourself?
Oh my God, that's an awful one.
Garet has both hands on the side of her head, like panic stroking her forehead.
I can't even imagine. I mean, both of those are so exasperating. I think I'd rather not be able to get in a word to explain myself than to be explaining myself and nobody understanding. Because I think in the first scenario, I'm blaming other people. In the second scenario, I feel like I'd be blaming myself for not communicating clearly.
I would rather have the second one. I would rather be misunderstood no matter how clearly I'm explaining myself, because I can still blame the other person if I know that I've explained it clearly. I think for me...
Oh, I start questioning my sanity then. I'm like...
If I can't get a word in, then I would get so angry that I know my reaction would then be coming from a very personal and angry place, rather than like a frustration with like the substance of the situation. Like, because if you're just not letting me explain myself, then it's like it like sends me right back to being like that little kid that's like getting blamed for something that wasn't my fault, or I just had to like deal with because like whatever. So I think I would rather just be misunderstood despite explaining myself, and hope that like maybe they'll go home and sleep on it and realize what I was saying, or
okay, now
whatever.
That you say that, yeah, I do. I'm reconsidering. I know, like yesterday, we were doing this big project together, and I mean, we've been doing this for years. Like, my spouse and I work very well together. Like, we were literally working in a very tiny space together, and we're able to like do things without bumping into each other and really getting in each other's way. But at one point, I was trying to explain how I wanted something set up, and I explained it, and he was like, I don't understand what you're saying. So then I would like try and explain it another way, and he was not, and I was like, we're both looking at the other person like, are you fucking stupid?
That happened to us when we were putting in the microwave, and what worked for us was like, because I had a better idea of like where everything should go and how it should go, and I'm also better at like troubleshooting that type of thing, or just more comfortable with it, I think. But so like what worked for us was like me explaining it, and then like PK like digesting and then explaining back to me what he thinks I said. So like a lot of times it included us like drawing out what we were trying to say, and like like putting like, okay, this is where I think this should go, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And then like kind of that thing of, I know that you talked about it with something, but like where you like repeat things back to people, like instructions or something. So like to make sure that you're getting it.
That
but,
I
like,
get it and that they have also explained it correctly.
Right, like to make sure that like you're not missing something. Like they think something was super obvious, but you didn't pick up on it or whatever. That has helped us in those types of situations. So that, because like there's been a few situations where it's like, are we saying the same thing and just in different ways? Because that happens so often.
Yeah, me too. I know. I was like, do we have like paper? I was like, can we draw this out? Because
there are times where I feel like my brain, it doesn't matter how you say it. I need it like on paper. Like I need it to be written down. And then it makes perfect sense, even though not a single thing you said deviated from what was written on the paper. Like you could have read from that paper, but like me seeing it written out sometimes makes it so much easier to understand and like put into action.
yeah,
Especially if it's like I'm building something out of the instructions.
yeah, it was like
Like there's a reason they include diagrams in like how to build your furniture things.
instructions.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like explaining this and he's like, and I'm like, just staring at each other, like making faces at each other, like, duh. How are you not picking up what I'm putting down here? But no, and that was like, I kept explaining it and I'm like explaining it again. I'd be like, okay, so you take like 2 letter U's and then you do other letter U's back to back with them. So you have 4 U's. And he was just like, not.
So you want a W and an M.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I wanted. I was like, the 2 ones we were going to make. Okay, so just do another one on the other side of that, facing the other way. And it was just like, we were having a really hard time. So but now that I'm thinking about it, I think you're right. I think I would rather give it a few good shots of trying to explain it than to not be able to explain it.
Yeah. Because I think it's easier also, like, if you're just not understanding me, to be like, okay, like, let's just, like, come back to this later. And even if, when we come back to it, nothing has changed in the way that I'm communicating and nothing has changed in the way that you're listening, like, I think it gives everybody a chance to take that space. Whereas if I can't even get a word in, there's no taking space to, like, regroup.
And you're right. It's not like somebody's going to sleep on it and
right.
It's going to click. So yeah, no, that was a good one. I hated that, which means it was a good one.
You're welcome. Oh, also, if you're listening, which I hope you are,
if you're listening, can you hear me? Is anybody listening?
Are you there, God? It's me, Garet. Tell us on, like, in our Instagram comments for today's post, like, what you would pick for these things. Because I just think it's interesting to hear what people would pick.
And I mean, sometimes you change your answer.
Sometimes you change your answer. Would you rather the sun be in your eyes and you can't do anything about it? Like, even if you go indoors, the glare from the sun is on everything and, like, you can't get away from it. Or would you rather have the wind blowing directly into your face all the time so you can't keep your eyes open and you have to keep, like, blinking and your hair's, like, whipping around into your eyes and mouth?
The sun.
I would rather have the wind. I hate the glare on stuff. It drives me nuts.
I do too, but I feel like even with the wind, like either way, I'm not going to see well. Like my eyes are going to be like this, but at least I'm not going to have hair in my mouth. And the sun feels nice.
It's because you're a lizard. Then you're really going to hate this last one.
Oh, great.
Would you rather be stuck wearing sticky lip gloss or have super chapped and dry lips and no access to chapstick. In both situations, you're in windy places and you have to eat food.
Sticky.
I
Sticky
think I'd rather
chapstick.
have chapped lips.
I can't deal with that sensation for like any period of time. And you know, it's funny you mention that because we went to a wedding one time and it was August, I think. And the ceremony was outside in the late afternoon and the sun was just like
Oof.
right in the old eyeballs. And I had not brought sunglasses with me because I was like,
Right.
thinking I had not anticipated that we were going to be facing the sun.
Yes.
And there was a little bit of a breeze. It was extremely hot. A little bit of a breeze, and I had sticky lip stuff on, and my hair kept getting stuck in my lips, and it was like between that, it was like all of these combined. The sun was shining, hair is sticking in my mouth, and I'm hot and hungry, and oh yeah, it was just
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in
that
the
lasted
sticky
for like an
lip
hour
gloss,
until it went down. The sun went down.
yeah, the sticky lip gloss, I just can't because then like I go to take it out and it like drags across your face.
It was
And
disgusting.
then you just feel like, do you know how I got these scars? And it's just lip gloss like going up the side of your face. Maybe that's what happened to the Joker. He just
He went to a wedding and
yeah.
August.
He got too overstimulated by the lip gloss smearing on the side of his face when his hair got stuck in his lip gloss, and
it was just
cut
like,
it out.
I also remember sitting next to a guy who was for sure high on coke.
Ooh.
And he was just very chatty and was asking me, we had gone to the same college, and was asking me about professors that I had, and I was like, motherfucker, I can't remember. I remember like 3 professor names ever.
I don't know that
I
I could remember my
vaguely
professor names actually,
Remember
and I
what
took
they looked like?
yes, I can remember what they looked like, but I couldn't tell you their names, and I took several classes with a couple of them. Still don't remember their names.
No, there's literally like 3 that I remember. And it was ones that just like made a very deep impression on me, but it was just like, he's saying this, I'm like, and it's like, man, my chapsticks, my lip gloss is sticky and my hair is sticking in it, and that's all I can think about right now. So please stop asking me these questions.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went to a cousin's wedding, and hold your shock, and one of the other wedding guests, another cousin of mine, well, she's a second cousin, but this other cousin of mine, we're the same age. We were born like 3 months apart. So we were hanging out, and I was in law school at the time. So I was older, and we're talking to this guy who had gone to every U.S. Phish concert that had happened in the past, like the previous like 10 or 12 years.
No.
Every single one. And I was like, was telling us this whole story about it. And we were both like, what and how? Like, what do you do for a living? And basically, like every summer when they would do their like festival circuit, he just would follow this Phish around and listen to the same songs forever.
And do drugs at every
I would assume.
Phish concert.
Yeah. Apparently, when Phish performed at that Sphere in Las Vegas, people said it was like the best venue for Phish because it was like actually immersive.
So we have a friend that went and saw like Dead and Company at that Sphere in Vegas, and he sent us videos last night, and it was amazing. Amazing. I'll have to have my spouse send them to the group chat so you can see one of them. So cool. Like,
because it's like the Van Gogh immersive experience.
Well, it was like it It was amazing. I mean, the videos that he sent, because they've got like all of this imagery, it almost looks like the old screensavers.
Okay.
Like, you would see like shapes and
Yeah.
colors, and it's like that, but it's like moving up and around your head, and it's like going with the music, and
I bet
one
Cirque
of them
du
it looked
Soleil
like
in there
space.
would be baller.
Oh man, you get high as shit and
Yeah.
go see something in the sphere. I mean, I feel like if you were on something that was like hallucinogenic, you'd be flipping. I mean, I would be flipping.
I don't know that.
Out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do
much.
a hallucinogenic and go, but some indica, sure.
Oh, yeah. Some snacks.
Yeah.
Do you remember that episode of Always Sunny with what's his name's cousin? It was
Oh, so now you like cousins.
Also, now you're into the cousin thing.
But I'm the pariah.
But I've got too many cousins. It was it was Mac's cousin.
Okay.
And it was the guy who played Stifler.
Okay.
And,
Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's really underrated. He's a pretty funny actor.
Very funny. And they went to a planetarium, I think. And they all got really high before they went, and they were eating snacks, and they show them afterwards, and they're all standing in the hallway eating chips, just like bloodshot eyes. It was just so funny. But that's what it makes me think of, is like, just getting like real toasty, and seeing something like that would be really fun. But yeah, I truly I dated somebody that was really into Phish. And
the band, not the food.
Yeah. And Phish with a PH.
Right.
And it was, I've never been a jam band person, and I think it's an attention span thing. Like, I don't have the attention span for a 20-minute song.
I also just keep thinking, like, what's the point? Like, what what are we doing here?
Yeah.
At least with like lyrics, there's like a story being told by the song. So like,
and I like melodic stuff. Like, I want to be able to like bop to what I'm listening to. And this, I mean, he tried so hard to get me to like Phish, and I was just like, I can't. This is not my thing. There's like two
I feel like
Phish songs
either
that I like.
you really like Phish or you want absolutely nothing to do with
Phish.
it. Yeah, like it's either you hear it once and you're like, man, this like totally kicks it, and then or you hear it once and you're like, my life is neither better or worse, but it would definitely be worse if you kept making me have to listen to that.
Yeah, it's and I just like the real heavy like druggy culture that goes with it, and the other thing that's funny too is it's like truly the only people that want to hear about are like other Phish fans, but even then they are tuned out. Like, I remember he and I were someplace and we bumped into somebody that I knew that was like similar with Phish, like loving 20 Phish concerts a year or whatever. And I was like, oh, you guys are both into this thing, which for me, it's like, okay, perfect. You both have a shared interest that I fucking hate, so I don't have to be involved. You guys can just get it out of your system. And they both pretty much found it boring, what the other one was saying. And I want to be like, this should be a fucking lesson to you. Right.
It's not like...
No one wants to hear about this, including the people that you're going to these concerts with.
Right, exactly. It's not like when we match up PK and the intern to talk about pro wrestling.
Yeah.
From the 90s. Like, they love that conversation.
Side note. We watched The Iron Claw last night.
Okay.
That Zac Efron.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
I
do love Zac Efron, though.
I was so distracted by his monster plastic surgery face.
I mean, it's not his fault. Like, at least, like, he had a reason to have the plastic surgery. Like,
it was his jaw,
crushed.
right?
Yeah, it got crushed. He had to have, like, jaw reconstruction.
It just looks like he had a bunch of other things done also.
It does, but like I've seen these other actually I think I saw this person on Instagram or something, but they had a jaw surgery because their underbite was so pronounced that like they couldn't close their mouth. Like straight up there was always like their lips were always open. They could not close their mouth, and it's like a genetic thing where like something about the way that your mandible like sits in your skull is like wrong, like it comes down too far, therefore it comes out too far.
Yikes.
So this person,
to,
they
like,
were
break
in the
your jaw.
Yes, so they were in the UK, and so she had to have like all like braces for like 8 or 10 years, had to have like different teeth pulled and other teeth put in, root canals and stuff put in, all these different things, and finally got this jaw surgery. And people, she addressed some comments that were like, oh, it looks like you got a nose job. And it was because when they brought her upper jaw forward, basically, it like makes your nose turn up.
Oh yeah, it like changes the way that things on your face sit.
Yes, which is like one of those things, like it never occurred to me. Like it makes sense, but it just never occurred to me the way that so I think that's
somebody got something fixed with their chin, and I have seen where it like changed how something else
which
looked.
is just wild. Like
it was
like
just
to
like,
think that like I don't know, like if I break my wrist that like my shoulder wouldn't sit properly in its socket is like kind of a weird like thing. Like that's kind of what you're saying, especially when it's like your lower mandible that you're having surgery on. That's a separate bone entirely.
Yeah.
So like that it would fully change the look of your face is just
kind of like when somebody doesn't have teeth. The change that it does to your face. And it was like at one point, like you're watching this and he's supposed to be like, I don't know, like early 20s. And
he definitely looks he looks older.
Fully grown man with a gigantic physique and a face that has been
It's a nice physique.
No matter what the plastic surgery was, there's been a fuck ton of work done to his face, and he's like, come on, bud, we gotta go for a run. I literally was like, how old is he supposed to be in this? Fuck out of here with this.
You know what? But it's about time they started making old men play young men, because they've been doing that to women the entire fucking time. Somehow you're 25, but you're playing an 18-year-old. Also, then you're 21 and playing a 45-year-old. So, like, you know what? Fine. Let's have more mixing of the ages for men in Hollywood.
It was just
let's confuse everybody.
I'm watching it and I'm like, and the two of us are like so distracted by his face in this movie.
I think
it was just
it's because we saw him so much when he was younger, and
he can't even like emote. You know what I mean? Like he's just
because all the nerves are destroyed, so you can't he can't move his.
I'm sorry, you shouldn't
lips.
be doing these like dramatic roles.
Well, what else is he gonna do?
If you can't,
what skills would he have? He's a Disney
having
baby.
Money. That's what skills he's got. He's got a bunch of fucking money.
He's also vegan, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think he did
about Zac Efron.
I think he did a thing on Netflix that was similar to, I think Chris Hemsworth did one too, where it was like travel the world.
Oh yeah, and it was on like sustainability.
Yes.
And yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's vegan or vegetarian. If he's not vegan, he's vegetarian.
Right. Yeah. Now that you say that does click.
Yeah.
And what's his name was in it too? He was Lip in Shameless.
Oh yeah. I don't know his real name.
He's kind of looks like he kind of looks like
that either.
Oh.
We just finished yesterday morning our rewatch of The Office. So we finally got to the finale and all that. So
The Bear is really good. He's really good in The Bear. Yeah, this was just it's on the Von Erich family. You know what it is I definitely feel like, as somebody
Iron Claw, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really like movies anymore because I feel like the ability to tell a story is really limited. And I don't know how much anybody knows about the Von Erich family, and I know way more about pro wrestling than like any person who doesn't watch pro wrestling should know.
I don't know anything about the Von Erich family. You said that like I was like they were the McMahons or something.
I mean, they were like a very big figure. Like,
okay,
there was like multiple kids that wrestled. The Harts are another like big family who have also had tragedy with this. So, like the Hart family, I think it was Owen Hart, like literally like fell. They had him hooked up to like a thing,
like a wire, like like a Peter Pan thing.
Yes, but the ones that are safe, they didn't use because it was too hard for him to like really quickly get out of. And it involved too much fucking with it. So they put him in like, he was basically hooked by like a carabiner and dropped like, he literally fell like from the ceiling onto the thing and died like on TV. The Hart family did. So the Von Erichs, everybody said was cursed. That's been like the thing. Like they had 4 boys, I think. And the parents, I think, oh no, there was 5. I think the father died by suicide at some point, like after the kids were grown. But I think they had a little boy who, I don't remember how he died. The oldest son died as a little kid. Then there was Zac Efron's character, and he's the only living brother. Another one.
But he had face surgery, so.
And he couldn't show any emotions anymore. It was very sad.
You guys got to join Patreon and watch Garrett's reenactment of this movie because
listen,
it is.
I got the puffy fucking.
You
pillow
look like
face.
What's her face?
Good.
The like, she was in all those memes last year, but was in Legally Blonde. She was the nail tech. Like, makes me want a hot dog real bad.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes, Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes,
That's what you look like.
Yes. Because she also does that, like the pouty thing with the squinty eyes. So the one brother died as a kid. The other one lived. The other one, there's another one who was in a motorcycle accident. He was a wrestler. Lost his foot, and then wound up ultimately dying by suicide. He shot himself in the chest.
Jeez.
Another brother died of a ruptured intestine or something, and didn't realize he was sick and was like overworking himself. But he was like, no, I'm just like, I picked something up and I'm not feeling well and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And like he was like going to Japan or something to do this international tour, and like didn't want to miss the opportunity.
Right.
And then another brother was wrestling. At least in the movie, and I'm pretty sure that the causes of death were accurate, but he he hurt a shoulder. He needed to have shoulder surgery. He went under the anesthesia and wound up his fever. He had developed a fever that shot up to 107. They couldn't get it down for 2 hours, and he wound up with toxic shock syndrome.
Yeah.
And he cooked, and he was like, he was a really talented musician that could play like all of these instruments, and he like lost the ability and had to like reteach himself and overdosed.
He survived that?
He survived
Holy
it.
shit.
But then died by suicide after, because he lost the ability to like do so many things.
I can't believe he survived
instruments.
having his temperature that high for that long.
2 hours.
That's wild.
So it was
because it's like a thing, like if you have a baby with a fever over like 104, they like immediately hospitalize you because it's so dangerous to have a temperature that high for so long.
Yeah. So yeah, it was well, it's like when you see people have febrile seizures because their temp is
right,
so
because
high.
your temp gets high and spikes, and then you have a seizure from it, and you know there's no other cause, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But holy cow! So when he was under anesthesia, his temp spiked, or this
I
was
think
like
it was
while
when he
recovering?
was in surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was
That's
just
like
like,
such a freak accident, I feel like,
yes.
to have your temp spike during surgery. Like getting an infection
Hmm.
after the fact, okay, that happens all the time.
But for like it was like a rotator cuff repair or something. Like it was a
Which is
normal
also kind of run of the mill,
common
like as far as
surgery.
surgeries go. I mean, those
Yeah.
happen all the time.
And I
At
think the
least at
father
my
was
job, they
also.
do. That's for sure.
For a second, I thought you were kidding. Like, me as a Fox doctor, I'm always doing these and then I was like, oh
In
no,
my day job, I
she
see
sees
rotator
injuries
cuff
all the
surgeries
time.
all the time.
Yes. So yeah, it's just like this really tragic family, and now like there's one brother left of all of these kids.
Wow.
And it's really awful. But that's it. It was about the Von Erichs, and I just felt like it almost got to the point where they were just like showing all these brothers dying, like. So I just felt like if you did it in a show, if you did a limited series that was like 8 or 10 episodes, you could really kind of delve into these characters, and you know, you just knew like one of them was wild and drinking, but like in a show they would be showing like why is he, you know, what's driving him to do these things. So yeah, it just felt like it was, I think with my issue with movies is a lot of times they're trying to cover too much in a film that like it's just there's just
Especially
too much.
I think
You
for
lose
like
depth.
a docudrama type thing. Although I haven't watched House of Gucci.
I haven't either.
I mean, I heard very good things about it, and I like.
I heard it was really bad.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Adam Driver, so I feel like
yeah.
I'd like it. But also, like, the story itself is just kind of bananas that I think I would just find it interesting. But I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it.
No,
I know that
haven't seen
when
it
this
yet.
comes out, what did I say this was? 96?
94, 5?
95. So this comes out June 6th, which means that, like, next week, the second part of Bridgerton season 3 drops.
I started the first episode, but I haven't watched
The first episode of the first season.
No, of the third season.
The last episode of the first section of the third season is very good. But
Oh, I'm excited.
yeah, no, I burned through it real quick.
We did watch something that you would like. It was called Bodkin. Have you seen you guys have Netflix right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is right. Oh, you're gonna love it. It's like right up your alley. So it is. It's just like one season. It's new. It's got Will Forte.
Okay.
He plays this American podcaster who's going to Ireland to investigate this. There was like 3 people that went missing during like a Samhain festival, like I don't know, 20 or 30 years before. So he goes there to investigate that. And it's great. It's like it's like a great, like there's good comedic relief. There's good like mystery element. It's great. It's a great show. It was like very easy to watch, very entertaining.
And what's it called?
And I guess it's
Bodykin?
based on a true story. Bodkin.
Bodkin. Oh. No, never mind. I was thinking like
Definitely. Maybe, probably. I
Bogkin,
don't
like the bogs in Ireland, but you said bod with a D,
Bod.
so
But there is a
it's not
bog in it.
bog. Well, I
So
would
you
hope
get
so.
both. You get the bodkin and the bog. It's just really funny because he's like introducing the concept of this podcast to like all of these people in the town, and they're all like, oh, what's your podcast about? And he starts explaining it, and they go, and people will listen to it. It's what like every single person he's talking to in Ireland is like, and people are going to listen to it.
Are they
'Cause they're all
asking
like,
him or telling him?
They're saying it like a question, like basically saying to him like, who gives a shit about this story? And
I can't wait to tell Irish people about our podcast when I'm there in the summer.
oh yeah,
and people listen to it.
and
Yeah.
people listen to it. So I think you would
So
love
far.
this show, and you can watch it in between when Bridgerton comes out. It gives
That's
you a
true.
perfect thing in between. But yeah, it was like a great mystery, and they had like some, you know, it's like a whodunit, like what happened to these people and who was involved, and I mean, there's just like all kinds of like good twists in it. It was really entertaining. I enjoyed it. And like easy to watch.
I like easy to watch.
Yeah.
We have to finish Ozark too. We're still not done.
I swear to God, I've tried watching that show like 3 times and I cannot get through like the first 2 episodes. It's too fucking stressful.
We just have the second half of the last season because I think it did like the Bridgerton thing where they like split it. We got caught up and then that was like 2 winters ago now. And then last spring was the move and new jobs. And then this fall, it was a new job for me. And it's just been fucking nuts. So yeah, we have to finish that ASAP, but maybe we'll do that tonight. I don't know.
If not, Bodkin, very entertaining. And you guys would both love it.
PK did say that he wants our next comfort watch to be Curb Your Enthusiasm. So we'll start that soon.
Have you watched that before?
No.
Oh, it's very funny. I mean, not all of it ages well, but some very there's things that still like come up all the time. I'm like, do you remember that episode of Curb? Like one of the guys in the neighborhood like lost his dad or something, passed away. Like they're all in their 60s.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm an orphan, Larry. And he was like, I mean, you're not an orphan. It was like, you're like 55 years old, Greg. Like, you're not an orphan.
Oh my gosh.
It's shit like that all the time where somebody's making a comment to Larry and he's like, I mean. But the one thing that got really old for me with that show is you've got Larry David constantly dating women who are like in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
kind of icky.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's also just so fucking funny.
Have you watched Clear History?
No.
You should watch it. It's with Larry David. He stars in it. John Hamm is in it. Also Michael Keaton.
Is this a movie?
Yes.
I saw a preview for it.
It is so fucking funny and so stupid. You'd love it. It's a great movie, and it's just like an easy watch. Like, and he tries to hit. So John Hamm is married to Kate Hudson, and Larry David decides that he's going to fall in love with Kate Hudson because of it's a 30-something person, and
he's old, so
right,
logically,
and so of course, yeah, and so he's like convinced that he can like make her fall in love with him, whatever, and so he's like. It's just like all these different things of like him reading into shit of like her just being nice to an old man. It's just a really fun. I'm like excited for you to watch it because it is like legitimately very funny. I'm sure the group chat will be blowing up with. Some quotes. Also, speaking of rewatching The Office, PK said that I am most like Kevin.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The dance moves, I guess. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that a little. This is when I was in high school and I said to my high school boyfriend that he looked like a hamster, and he told me I had dark hair and fair skin, so he's like, like black and white. I was like a panda, and he was like, oh, I was thinking a cow, and then immediately realized what he did and was like, that's what that was. Kevin.
He said that to me, and I said, I do numbers.
Why use many word when few word do trick?
Like, so the whole time, PK really didn't care for The Office. He thought it was just too cringy. But when Holly gets introduced and Dwight played the prank on her by telling her that they get like a government kickback for employing Kevin because he's like disabled, like mentally challenged.
Yeah.
And so she's like, wow, you drive a car? That's pretty cool.
She's super into me.
And they carried it across like 3 episodes.
Yes.
And then
that was a very funny shtick on that show. The change.
Yes.
When she's counting out.
This is a button.
So good. You know what else?
That is really offensive, Holly. What?
I felt like there was like certain things on The Office that they just kind of misstepped. Like I felt like the character of Nate on The Office at the very end, they completely missed out. They should have had him ages ago. So it's the same guy that plays Colin Robinson.
Yes.
It's the same guy like that when I was telling you guys about the that found footage festival that we go to and that Chop and Steal documentary. He was involved with them also, and he used to do this shtick where he would go on like local news stations and pretend he was like, I
think you sent me a video of that.
Yeah, and he would like pretend he was like doing a kids event or something, and that he was this yo-yo master, and he would just go on these local news shows and just tangle like 6 yo-yos. He's just like swinging a bundle of them around. Like he is truly one of the funniest people ever. And when he was on The Office and they're like trying to speak to each other in Spanish, and then he's like, it's not that I can't see at night, because that's not true. It's just that when it's very dark.
It's not that I can't hear. It's just that when there's a lot of noise, it becomes hard for me to hear. When he wants a job in the warehouse. So good.
Every fucking scene with him was so funny because his delivery is just like so flat. I laughed he was also in was it Breaking Bad? I know he was in Better Call Saul.
What was he in Better Call Saul?
He was a pharmacist who
yes. I don't think he
drugs.
was in Breaking Bad. But he
just
had
Better Calls the playa.
Yeah, it was just Better Call Saul. Yeah, with the
Hummer.
Ridiculous Hummer and
so good. So good. He's so funny. So I just felt like on The Office, like, man, they really underutilized. Like that could have been.
But his use
funnier.
in Better Call Saul was also funny because not only was Bob Odenkirk in The Office, but so was Badger. Was one of Dwight's cousins or whatever. And had like the neck beard. So he was Badger in Breaking Bad. He was one of Jesse's friends that sold the drugs for them.
Yeah.
He was the tall one.
Yeah. With the funny voice.
Yes. He kind of always sounded like a little raspy.
Who was he?
He was Dwight's cousin or whatever.
Mose?
No. Different cousin. Had the same kind of neck beard. But yeah, he was in several episodes.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So,
man, I forget some of the cameos in The Office, but that was they underutilized that because that was like very fucking funny. But yeah, I think you should check that out. I think you would really like that show. So you'll have to watch that.
Okay.
I'm excited for you to watch Curb though.
Me too.
It's extremely funny. You're gonna.
Like I said, I really like the movie Clear History. I think I'll really like Curb.
He's very funny, and the fact that he's just like kind of on the spectrum about his like delivery of things. There's so often where people are like, and the one what's her name? Jeff Green's wife. Larry, you four-eyed fuck. I'm very excited. It's very funny.
Well, that's all I got for the episode today. If you want ad-free or extended or video episodes, make sure you join our Patreon for just $5 a month at patreon.com/thebarIsankleHigh. We've got merch at bit.ly/anklehighmerch. Make sure that you're subscribed wherever you listen and that you're leaving us a 5-star review whenever you can. Especially Apple Podcasts. If you write out a review, it's super duper helpful. And tell your friends about us, tell internet strangers about us, tell everyone about us, because word of mouth is like the best recommendation. And make sure you're following us on our social media channels. We're on TikTok at The Bar is Ankle High. We are on Instagram and Threads at The Bar is Ankle High. And every Tuesday on our Instagram, I post an episode title poll contest where there's 4 options. If you correctly guess the title of that week's episode, you'll be entered to win a free podcast logo sticker and some other goodies in the mail from us. It's totally free. It's open to listeners worldwide. So it's just like a fun thing to do in the middle of the week. And I think that's it. in the meantime,
I think that's it. Find your latest comfort show.
Yeah, enjoy a good comfort show. And also happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. I was trying to think of some of the would you rather scenarios.
Yeah,
you know
wear
what I'm
sunglasses,
realizing?
I guess.
I don't like doing anything with my hands wet, by the way.
Oh, I forgot one, I think. I know I did. Hold on. We'll send you off with the last would you rather. Get over here. I'm going to make it difficult. Oh yeah, would you rather have something in your eye that you can't find or get out all day, or have that feeling where you bite on like a grain of sand or dirt every time you chew for a day?
The second one. The second one. Can't deal with something in my eye.
I would rather have something in my eye than something making my teeth grit. But
oh God, no. eyeball. My eyeball.
Corneal abrasion. So yeah, until next week, go chew some dirt, I guess.
What a terrible thing to say to people.
You said you would rather chew on dirt.
Or the feeling of like something gritty under your shoes or slippers.
I don't care about that because I'm wearing slippers. My feet are protected.
Nope, it makes me gag.
All right. Well, until next week, do your best not to gag.
Perfect. Because the bar is
ankle high.